Hello, my adorable screaming opossums. You're looking absolutely rabid today. How are you going? How's everybody going? Okay, today is going to be a something a little bit different. This is going to be a pilot episode for hopefully a new streaming podcast because everybody's doing podcasts nowadays. So that's what we're doing. So basically, we're going to do everything starting from movie reviews to mystery boxes to art stuff because the lovely Harmony here
Hey there.
is an artist. I'm also an artist, if you can't tell. So, yes, my name is Hex, and as previously said,
I'm Harmony.
and we're going to get into it today. We are going to read Am I the Asshole? But we are going to change it to Am I the Douchebag?
Douchey.
So,
We have four. We're going to do four stories today, purely by subject only. So we're just looking at them on the phone, picking subjects, and then we'll open it up and do a reading. And we have no idea what these ones are because we haven't opened it. So the reaction will be authentic. So you'll get our responses, and then our opinions.
We are not scripted. There is absolutely no script happening at the moment. If we are to post this on YouTube at a later date, disclaimer, we are not scripted.
We are not scripted, and all the opinions are our own and are not necessarily true. They are just our opinions.
We try to base things on fact, though. So fact or our opinions. Okay, so I will get Harmony is my mother, if you can't tell by our general face shape. So I will get Harmony to kick it off. Kick it off, Harmony.
Okey-dokey. So I have one here, and it's AITA, or Am I the Douchebag, in our case, for telling my friend I'm bored without our other friend.
So who hasn't been a third wheel? I know I have.
Relate to that one. So that's why I've picked that one first. So let's open it and have a read.
Hi there. Future Hex here. Editing Hex. I don't know how to edit. So I'm using CapCut. As you can probably tell, the mic spikes a lot. We were testing out a brand new mic. Those little ones that you plug into the mobile. So instead of using my setup, as you can tell, I have a setup, webcam and all that crap. Instead of using that, we were just doing a quick stream just to like test things out and whether or not I wanted to post on YouTube. And if you're seeing this, I've probably posted it on YouTube. So yes, the spiking's quite bad. So, and for some reason my webcam's wobbling. So please tell me how I can fix that on CapCut. And if I can't fix it on CapCut, that's fine. Just please either ignore it, or if you don't want to blow out your eardrums, then you are more than welcome to stop watching. If you've decided to click on this video and you're watching anyway, then thanks. Okay, so I guess that's it. Cool. I hope you continue watching or stay tuned for other stuff, and hopefully once I clean up my mess, then we'll be hopefully using my actual setup, not just my mobile. Yeah, cool.
All right, and this is what they say. So for a bit of context, there are only 3 people in this particular friend group. One of the 2 other girls in this group, Sam, didn't come to school, so it was just me and the other girl, Serena. I commented on how boring and lifeless it was without Sam. I said she was the spark that held our group together. Serena agreed. Sam was absent a few days after that too, not consecutively, and apparently I commented on how boring it was without her on all these days. I didn't really realize this until Serena very tearfully pointed it out and said it made her feel unimportant. I did not mean to make her feel this way. I value her a lot as a friend, but she was so upset. So was I the douchebag here?
Mm.
What are your thoughts?
I have been the third wheel in a lot of my friend groups. Even my best friend, she had another chick we used to hang out with. Well, to be fair, I will use names because people don't really know me anyway. I'm a hermit. So basically my best friend Tiff, when we were in school, we used to hang out with this other girl called Cassie. Cassie was kind of monotony and everything, and I enjoyed hanging out with Tiff. I hung out with Cassie without Tiff a couple of times, but it just wasn't the same because Tiff was very much the more bubbly person. So
But in terms of, do you think she's the douchebag because she mentioned it several times to her while they were hanging out?
That's a bit of a hard one because I wouldn't have mentioned it so many times. I may have mentioned it a few times, but I suppose things just slip out though. Like if you're not in having fun with the person, then it would just come out, wouldn't it? I'm trying to think about if I was in that position, and
I have been in that position.
Yeah, but if I
have been in the position where I've been the person who hasn't been there and been included with with the three. We had a group of 3 friends as well. So I was my best friend was introduced. We had introduced a third girl to our group, and we'd been hanging around for ages.
Is that Paula?
No, Virginia. And we, invited this other girl to join our group because she was by herself and we were loners anyway. We didn't have a big group. We didn't have a lot of friends. And so we invited her as part of our group. And then I was sick or away for a couple of days and they were hanging out because I wasn't there. And then they sort of started hanging out without me at times because and when I asked my best friend, sort of like what was going on there because they went to things without me, then they were kind of, oh, well, it was, she was interesting and this, that, and the other. So
yeah, that's a different thing. That's still not what that said.
No, but so this is saying to point it out to the person who is not the one that's exciting is a bit of a douchey thing.
To constantly point it out, I think is a bit of a douchey thing. Just to mention it occasionally, then yeah, sure. But if you're having fun with that person regardless, then she may not be you just got to find something which you're both interested in.
I don't think she's a douchebag.
I don't think
per se. I wouldn't call her a douchebag. I wouldn't call her a
douchebag. She's
I think she's probably just a little unfeeling and inconsiderate.
Yeah.
Sounds fairly young, so I'm sure that perhaps she'll develop more of a bit more subtlety as she gets older.
I would say not the douchebag.
I would say not the douchebag.
Just
as well. Just a little bit thoughtless.
We have been in that position before because like Cassie and Tiff hung out without me as well. So yeah, just a little bit thoughtless. I wouldn't exactly say the douchebag though.
I wouldn't have called her a douchebag either. So that's my thought.
So that's story 1. So if anybody wants to comment on story 1, then comment down below and let us know your opinion. Okay, we're going to get some spicy ones, I guess.
Yeah,
as well.
A little controversial.
Yeah. Okay.
Scandalous.
This is a long one. Okay. Am I the douchebag? I locked my cancer-stricken roommate out until he had to go to the hospital.
That sounds horrid.
So I've been having roommate trouble. I view myself as a kind-hearted person and met a guy who said he had cancer and was dying. He said he needed a place to stay and he would pay $200 weekly while he stayed. I had been struggling financially, so I figured why not help out a guy suffering and help keep myself afloat. It should be almost obvious what happened next for anyone else who has experience with people who have asked this. Things did not go as planned. Things started off pretty, I can see where this is going. Things started off pretty good. He cleaned and bought groceries with Snap. He gave me $150 the first week. I took him to work so he can make some money still, and he moved his girlfriend in, who stayed with us, which I didn't mind. He did make the house smell of weed, which was annoying. Wow. Things started falling apart when he claimed he was getting cancer surgery and couldn't work. I'd come home from work and him and his girl would be high laying in bed. After he missed the second payment, I confronted him. He starts crying, putting on a sob story, and I tell him that I did not care. I told him I didn't think we were compatible and that he wasn't contributing much to the house, let alone keeping his $200 a week promise. I gave him a date to leave. He cried some more and we departed. I got a call from him where he tells me my landlord knows he's here now, and if he paid a fee, he can get added to the lease. I told him I thought he was lying because I've never seen her do that, and I tell him he's not getting added to the lease because he's supposed to go. He insists that's what happened, but I don't care and drop it because he's leaving anyway. He informs me he can't leave at the date I requested because it's too short a turnaround. I make him a deal to pay me $500 and I'll extend it another month. I casually go to my landlord about some unrelated business and she informs me a young man came asking to be out on the lease, but she told him no and that I needed to be there. Additionally, she said he had a criminal record and had to go. I was shocked at my roommate's duplicity and confronted him. He still denied it. I stew over the day and go to work. He ended up going to a friend's house for the night. He then texts asking to pick him up and I exploded. I locked the doors and I got a call about an hour later where he claimed he was in the hospital with a capsized chest and the police. I asked why the police were involved and he claimed it was because he passed out. I tell him the doors will remain locked as I saw the situation as a guilt trip and I left him outside for 2 hours until I came back to open the doors.
Wow.
So with that, am I the douchebag?
Whoa, that's a lot to unpack. Wow. Okay, well, that's a big story.
Okay, my opinion. It sounds like he is taking advantage. I don't think he actually has cancer. I would have gone and sort of, I know that's, it's really bad sort of saying, hey, I want proof. But if he's turned around and said, you know, I don't know. It sounds like he hasn't got cancer. It sounds like he is just smoking weed, laying about, bludging.
He wants to take advantage of the place to stay. The fact that he moved his girlfriend in and they,
it honestly
did weed
doesn't.
Got high. And I don't have an opinion about what he did in terms, whether he did weed or got high or whatever it was. That's irrelevant to this. The fact is he said something quite a very damning statement, I have this, which would make people automatically go, oh, there's sympathy there.
You don't joke about having cancer. If you actually have cancer, okay, I understand the situation. However, this guy, to me, it sounds like that was just a big fat lie, and he probably saw this guy's ad or whatever on Craigslist, because I know that's a thing in America, and just sort of went, hey, I can stay at this place for cheap. And this guy, if he's a kind guy, he may have turned around and went, the cancer guy could have turned around and kind of went, oh, he's a good guy, which means he's a doormat, basically.
Yeah, to me, in my opinion, it sounds like he just spun this story to get the
that's
sympathy
what I was
vote.
saying.
Yeah, I agree. And also, he's definitely taking advantage. I think the whole thing of the moving the girlfriend in and the fact the landlord has obviously done their check and said he's got a criminal history.
That's the other thing.
That's something that he didn't disclose. So full disclosure.
Yeah.
You think that would be an important factor to kind of mention before you agree to put someone on the lease. So the fact that the landlord has picked up on that and gone, hey, he's got a criminal record, and then he all of a sudden is in trouble with the police and
I don't think the police were there because he fainted and he's in hospital. I don't think he was in hospital. I think unless he was in hospital because he got into a fight and someone busted him up. But because I'm not saying everyone with a criminal record is a horrible person,
No.
but it sounds like this guy is a bit of a con man. Yeah, no, I think that
I don't think
he's the douchebag.
I don't think so either. I think they're
He should have done a better background check, because I know for a fact in the States there's like websites where you can pay like $10 or whatever for a background check. So, oh yeah, by the way, did I forget to mention we're Australian?
As if you hadn't noticed that already with our accents. There's that element of it, and I honestly don't believe that they're the douchebag. I think they were well within their rights to do what they did, and I'm surprised they didn't do it sooner, personally.
Yeah.
So in that particular instance, it's different if somebody had come to you and go, look, I've got cancer. This is the situation. I've got nowhere to stay. I'm in a bad way. And even up front sort of said, look, in case you do a check, I have got a bit of a criminal history, but I'm not going to take advantage. And just, be upfront about it. The fact that they weren't and they took advantage, I really think that means that they deserve to be looked out. But hey, there's two sides to every story. And he may have had cancer, but you don't want not to know for sure. But it did sound
well, the marijuana could have been medicinal marijuana.
Yeah, it could have done. So,
but it still sounds kind of So, and that was story 2. So, if you want to tell us what you reckon of story 2 and whether they're the douchebag or not, then comment down below and let us know.
Yep. I'm just looking to see if I can find
another good one
that isn't too controversial. So I don't want to, or that it doesn't seem a bit silly. I'm just having there's quite a few of these.
It's a whole thing.
Okay, so this one, because it's just a heading, I don't know where this one's going.
We're going off titles.
Yeah. So I basically just reading the title. This is a one-liner, and it just says, AITA, so am I a douchebag for ending a 3-year friendship? Now, I don't know what the reasoning is on this one. It could be for any reason. So it's completely a surprise. I'm going to read this. I'll open it up. Whoa, also a long one. So apologies for that. But obviously,
am I the douchebag?
Am I the douchebag for ending a 3-year friendship? Now, apologies if this is going to be a really long one. I'll try and get through it. It obviously has some background there. So, okay, my friend Casey and I met freshman year of high school. So I'd say this is States because we don't have freshman year here in Australia, and became really good friends sophomore year. Yep, definitely.
Yep.
We remained good friends up until midway through our senior year. That sounds similar to the first one. I must be picking those ones. Okay.
Picking all the friend ones.
All the friend ones. I've always had small issues with Casey. She's nice, polite, and overall a good person. However, she also has really bad anxiety, and she struggled with her mental health far longer than I've known her, none of which deterred me from being best friends with her, as I genuinely did and still do care about her and want her to be doing well. Sounds good so far. The main reason I started to question whether I wanted to be friends with her was when she started being weird about me talking to her boyfriend. I've known her boyfriend for longer than I've known her, and they actually met at one of my birthday parties. Prior to them getting together, we used to be pretty close. After they started dating, though, I backed off, though still kept in touch with them. I had no classes with him, and ultimately, senior year, I didn't talk to him much, though I still considered him a friend and would check on him via text, maybe once a month at most. For context, I have a boyfriend, James, who is in the army. This year, our anniversary happened to fall during a time when he was home. It was unexpected but a pleasant surprise, as I've gotten used to him not being there for a lot of important occasions. That day, we had plans to hang out with his family and a couple of friends to play board games, then celebrate privately in the evening. During one of our games, I got a text from Cassie. She sent me some photos of her and her boyfriend, then a couple photos of a drink she had and some other random stuff, then finally a photo of just her boyfriend. I quickly liked the last image sent and put my phone away, thinking nothing of it. About 5 minutes later, my phone has gone off a few too many times for me to ignore it. So I check, and it's all messages from Casey. She started off by immediately asking why I only liked the photo of her boyfriend. I replied saying it was just the last thing she sent, and that I was confused why she was suddenly being so abrasive. She replied, claiming I needed to learn to respect her boundaries. I still didn't entirely understand what she was upset about, so I told her to call me when she had time, or we could try and solve it over text. She said she was driving and that she would just text me when she gets home. Just driving, she was texting. Okay. At this point, James noticed me get a little uneasy, so I excused myself to go sit in the back room for a minute to collect myself. This is when Casey decided to start texting me again. She accused me of wanting to steal her boyfriend from her, cussed me out, and generally just said some really terrible things about me. I'll admit I spent the rest of the day crying. Casey, up until this point, had been my best friend. We did everything together. She drove me to school in the morning, we ate lunch together every day, and sat next to each other in every class we had. Her parents considered me family, and I had thought she did too. I ended up telling Casey that I was sorry. I had nothing to apologise for, but I didn't want to lose her. James found me and comforted me until the end of the day. I felt terrible. Casey and I agreed to talk in person the following Monday at school. We did, and overall I had thought it went well. She apologised and acknowledged she was out of line. I really felt like we had gotten to the root of the issue and that this was just a small bump in our relationship. Things didn't exactly go back to normal, but Casey and I were talking again and on friendly terms. By the following weekend, I'm woken up at 8 a.m. by messages from Casey. Sorry about the length of this.
Very long.
It's very long. She had taken screenshots of 2 of her Instagram stories, including the views and likes. The first one was of a scenery picture she posted. I had seen it but not liked it. And the second one was of her boyfriend and her in matching pajamas. I had liked that one. I can see where this is going. The only other thing she had sent was a question mark. I replied asking her what that was about. She asked why I only liked the photo of a boyfriend.
Oh my God.
I replied honestly again that I just don't like photos of scenery people post and that there wasn't much else to it. I'll admit I was frustrated with her at this point. I replied a bit angrier than I had meant to, not anything rude, but definitely more accusatory than I try to be. I essentially told her that this wasn't something I wanted to put up with and that if she was going to continue to pull this kind of thing, I want to be sure I wanted to continue being friends. She replied saying this is simply how she is with everyone she's close to and that I shouldn't be offended by it. I hadn't mentioned it earlier, but Casey has a very unhealthy relationship with her boyfriend. That's another different point. She's very insecure and tends to take that out on him by accusing him of cheating and monitoring his every move. It's weird and has always kind of creeped me out. But I figured she does that in her private life and what she does is up to her. And if he's willing to put up with it, then who am I to judge? She said, I knew she was like this and that when I became friends with her, I essentially signed myself up for this. This was the final straw for me, though, and I haven't talked to her since. She has texted me a couple of times, nothing big, just like small favours you'd ask of anyone, even acquaintances. I'd considered her, almost at the end, considered her a sister, and I'm still pretty torn up about ending our friendship. I don't know if what I did was right. She struggled with her mental health a lot, and around this time had been dealing with quite a bit in her personal life. I also can't help but miss her. She was genuinely such a big part of my life and helped me through some rough times. So I'm wondering if dropping her was actually the right choice. Am I the douchebag?
He's tuned out.
That was a very, very long.
Hang on. So
I'm tuned out, you know?
was it just so I know in my head. So the OP is a female.
Mm-hmm.
Her best friend is a male or a female?
The girl, she's a female. The female friend, her best female friend.
Her best friend and is in a relationship with another female?
No, with a male, I think.
With a guy?
Yeah, who used to be her friend, who she already knew. She was friends with. She was friends with this.
So she was friends with the guy?
She was. The question.
The
was,
OP?
Yep. Was friends with the guy.
Because you said James, so I'm just sort of
James was her boyfriend. So she's saying she has a boyfriend already.
Okay.
So she has no reason to
Hang
be
on,
going after.
She was friends with a guy, because my answer is different depending on. She's friends with this guy. The guy got a girlfriend, is that right?
No, her best friend is in a relationship with the guy who is also her friend. She knew the boyfriend before she knew her best friend.
That's what I'm saying. Because Casey's the okay.
They met.
So,
They were introduced at her
so
party.
from what I understand, I could be incorrect, but from what I
That was a long story. It got
understood,
confusing.
yeah, from what I understood is she was friends with this guy for a while, and then he got a girlfriend.
They were introduced at her party, I think.
Yeah, but regardless, so she was best friends with the guy first, right?
Yep.
Right. So my opinion on that is that one, this chick is not the OP, but the girlfriend is extremely insecure. And also now, because this has happened to me,
You'll speak from experience.
from experience, guys kind of stop talking to their female friends once they get a partner. I considered him a very good friend, Jerry. And we were really good friends. He helped me with another one of my best friend's death and everything like this. Now, so we were really close. He got a girlfriend, and he was still chatting, and he was still chatting with me for a bit, but it got a bit less. And then he just cut off all contact. And I sent him a message kind of going, what the hell? And yeah, he didn't say like blame his girlfriend or anything, but he's just sort of like, oh, I've been busy. Which he could have been, but I've noticed that guys, when they get a partner, if they have a best female friend or just a female friend, then yeah, they stop communicating with their female friend.
And it's not the female friend who's necessarily driving that. It's the guy who, I don't know, maybe they think that the female friend, that their girlfriend's going to get jealous or something, or they just want to focus just on their partner, which is fair.
But he was still friends with his like male friends.
So it must just be something that they just think females are insecure about, which, let's face it, a lot of time the girlfriend is insecure about their boyfriend being friends with other females, especially if they're close friends, because there's an insecurity there. Just a lot of times it's an inbuilt one, and unless you're really strong in your own self.
But we were just mates. I understand it from the other point of view as well, because I am a female, and I did get jealous as well. But Jerry and I were mates. He saw one of my boobs, when I got my nipples pierced.
Slut!
He was just sort of like, I want to see, and I'm like, okay.
There's nothing in it though.
They've been
friends for a long time.
Yeah, we had been friends since high school,
almost like siblings.
Yeah, mates. Very good mates. But yeah, so it was definitely a shame, because, like I said, he helped me with my friend dying and everything. So it was a shame that I lost him as a friend, and I tried getting in contact with him several times, and he used to say that I was one of his best mates because I was the only one who could pronounce his last name.
But in this particular case for the story, it sounds to me like her best friend had mental issues.
She's not the douchebag.
I would say that she's not the douchebag for cutting her ties with her friend. If her friend, has been accusing her of things and being paranoid and not willing to speak to her, not willing to listen to her, then she's not really giving, her friend a chance to, well, she's not hearing her really. All she's doing is hearing her own paranoia. And I understand that, mental health issues are, not a funny thing and it's hard to cope with, but it is something that, you can't just go alienate and go, well, you signed up for that, because it still comes down to your choice. And
I'm all for,
you can't just use that as an excuse to
I'm all for
treat people.
I'm all for therapy. So
and for people to turn around and go, well, this is just me and you signed up for it. Nobody should have to sign up. Being a friend with someone doesn't automatically mean
Oh my God,
you
no.
get to, you know, put up with all their shit, because
definitely
you know,
not.
and
Definitely
that's not
not.
what you signed up for. You know, everyone has a right to, you know, be their own.
That's a cop out though. You signed up for that. It's like you've
So
got
that's
to,
the way I am. And
yeah,
you just
you've
have
got to
deal with it.
protect your own mental health and everything.
right.
So,
and it's
hell no.
difficult to be friends with someone who's constantly accusing you. And if they're not listening to you at all, then there comes a point where you've got to protect yourself. And
Yeah.
that's what she's done. And therefore, I do not think she's a douchebag at all. I think I understand.
Is she
upset.
asking if she's the douchebag for
Yeah.
cutting her off?
Yeah, that was
Oh,
so
that
she's
was the
asking
thing behind it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she's asking if she's the douchebag
No.
for cutting off her friend after this amount of time. And I'd say,
Hell no.
I don't think so. She's protecting herself. And although, you know, she mentioned she misses her friend, she didn't do it out of spite. She didn't do it out of anything, but she just couldn't handle it anymore. And
I would turn
you know.
around and say, look, get yourself some help or talk to somebody. And then when you think you're a little bit more stable, except maybe say it in a nicer way than what I'm saying it. But when you've sorted out your life, or when you're a little bit more stable, if you want to grab a coffee sometime, then, you know, I'll be here.
Yeah, I'll be here for you.
So
and that's, so what are your thoughts? Anyone who'd like to?
So that was story 3.
Story 3?
That was story 3. So if you want to comment down below what your opinion is then of story 3, then cool. Now, something I didn't mention at the beginning. We are streaming this. So there are people talking in chat. So we're going to take a quick break just to quickly say
Comment on
hi
chat.
to people in chat, and I can always edit this out if I decide to post it on YouTube. Back to the video. Okay, so am I the douchebag for asking? So I chose this one. I chose this one because we're kind of like, we have very strong opinions on this.
Oh, okay. So that's why you chose it. Okay,
Yes.
go.
Am I the douchebag for asking my wife to take down a social media post about our child's heart surgery?
I saw that one come up, but I didn't pick it.
Okay.
Oh, that's a trick. That's going to be a.
This is a throwaway account for privacy. So our teenager, Pat, was born with a congenital heart defect and recently had their second open heart surgery. Everything went well, and while in hospital, we kept family and friends updated via text. After we got home, my wife made a social media post about Pat's surgery, saying she hoped it would be their last. The truth is, it probably won't be, though future procedures might be less invasive. When I saw the post, I asked her to adjust the wording, which she did begrudgingly. Then I asked to talk privately. She initially refused and made dismissive comments in front of the kids, which I was trying to avoid. When we did talk, I told her I didn't think we should be sharing Pat's medical history publicly. It should be Pat's choice, not ours. I also worried about how this could impact Pat's future relationships, friendships, or even career. She said it was her social media and that many people were praying for Pat and that I overanalyze everything. The conversation escalated and she finally said, "Fine, whatever, I'll delete it." At that point, I asked her to pause so we could actually come to an agreement rather than act in frustration, but she refused, deleted the post, and ignored me for the rest of the night. Wow. So, am I the douchebag for thinking Pat's medical information shouldn't be shared publicly without their consent? Okay, a few things on that. So, first off, we have friends of the family who...
We're not going to name them.
No. We have friends of the family who post crap ton on Facebook about their medical conditions, their family's medical conditions, their mother's in hospital, this person's got diarrhea, you know.
This one's having a very personal operation being done on the
colostomy or whatever, like
prostate, I think it was.
Oh,
anyway,
well,
regardless.
there was a colonoscopy one as well, and it's
personal
just sort of
things,
like,
you know, things
yeah,
that you
and it's just sort of like,
generally.
Okay, some people have Facebook, like some people don't have mobiles, you know, older people
text.
they don't text or anything, and they have Facebook, even though I don't know how that works, but anyway, and they have social media. So I guess that's a way to let people know, or extended family that's in like Germany, for example, or something like that, to let them know what's happening. And if you've got Facebook, if you've got that set to private, which I don't think they do, but if you've got it set to private, then people outside of your friends and family can't see your posts. So that was my stomach. So I didn't have breakfast. So I think that on one hand, I understand, but they did mention that they're keeping the family updated via text message. So it sounds like the wife is just posting this for like clout and for people to be sympathetic, like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear.
Wanted a little sympathy.
So social media is horrible.
Social media is a very powerful platform. It can be used for good as well as for evil, or not so good. I think in some instances, social media is, because it's a very powerful tool, like Hex says, to keep in contact with people who may not otherwise you'll be on the phone to, or text or whatever, to help let them know what's going on. But like Hex says,
like the OP said,
like the OP said, if it's something personal, like if it's medical history, it's medically related, this person's in hospital having this particular operation, which is quite private, as well as, you can let relevant people know. But for myself, I don't necessarily want to open up my Facebook and find stories of a really personal nature about someone I know, and which is really none of my business. And it's not that I'm sort of I don't want to see it. You know, I don't want to see pictures. I don't want to see pictures of surgery in progress, almost. I don't want to see boils. I don't want to see things like that. If I wanted that, I'd watch medical shows. I just want to go onto Facebook, my social media. And I'm not saying you have to only post things that are, happy, happy, joy, joy. Because
Happy, happy, joy, joy, 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 joy.
Because that's not realistic either.
Happy, happy, joy, joy.
So, sort of saying, we're having some
bit of a throwback to Ren and Stimpy there.
We're having this, the daughter's in hospital for a, heart thing. You could sort of skirt over it. You can sort of say, so we're all
daughter or son,
my child.
Child.
We're praying for them. You could say that, that's fine without necessarily going into great detail, because as the OP said, the husband, was it, said, you don't know whether they want their story in detail, because
that's the other
I've
thing.
been embarrassed by my parents in the past, where my mother, I loved her dearly, was very vocal about, telling everyone all about our accomplishments, as well as all the things that were not that great. And while I didn't mind friends, and that wasn't on social media, that was just friends and family who came to visit it, and any friends that came to visit. She was a very enthusiastic storyteller of things that were going on and newsy stuff, which was fine, except that sometimes it was horrendously embarrassing. And I was horrifically embarrassed when I was a teenager about my mother letting people know, strangers and acquaintances know, about all the personal things that I had done, which I didn't want known. So in that respect, I get it.
Yeah, it would have been different if maybe the wife / mother turned around and sort of asked Pat, can I post it? Because that's the other thing she could have done. It doesn't matter if it's her social media. That doesn't matter. It's like,
the daughter's old enough, or daughter or son, the child is old enough the child is old enough to have an opinion about it as a teenager, about whether they want their friends, having this on the social media group. And, sometimes events happen, and you've got to consider the other person as well. It's even things like someone's passed away. That happened to us. Someone's passed away.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, someone passed away. My father and my siblings decided to post it straight away on social media
before letting the
before letting
relatives
the
in
family
Germany
know
before letting the relatives in Germany know.
that it had happened, and also promptly
God.
upsetting my father's partner, who was grieving. And so things like that, sometimes, it's all very well, we'll post it on social media to let people know, but there's a delay as well. There's time delays in that particular instance. Not exactly the same with this, but my point is you've got to consider another person. It's not like it's a very young child.
I think, okay, so what it comes down to is I think the wife is the douchebag.
I think the wife's a douchebag for not considering her child, or at least asking opinion, and acting all put out because the partner has asked her to.
So the OP
remove
says, am I the douchebag for thinking Pat's medical information shouldn't be shared publicly without their consent? And that's without their consent because she didn't ask.
No.
So he is not the douchebag.
I don't think he is
the
either.
wife is the douchebag, in my opinion.
In my opinion, I would be inclined to think the wife is the douchebag in this particular scenario, only because even though she agreed under duress that she would take it off, she was obviously very snitty about it. So
and it was still up there,
and
for
it's still
like,
up, and it was still up there, and
even if it was a couple of minutes, it was still up there.
So I don't think he's the douchebag for asking.
No, but I think the wife is a bit of a dick.
Penis!
So
yeah, so I think that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much it. That's our opinion on it, and other people may have different views on social media and what you know, who has the right to know personal things about you. Some people live through social media. I personally don't put all my personal items on there because I don't want to air everything, and I don't think that everyone necessarily wants to know all my.
I've had a
bits and
surgery.
bobs, you know?
I've had a surgery for things, and I didn't post it on Facebook because the important people knew. The people who were important to know about it knew about it. Like mum knew about it, dad knew about it, my brother knew about it. And if other people asked, I'd tell them because it's not super important. But the point is, health related stuff is important. But the point is that everyone who needed to know knew.
Yeah, and the other thing you've got to remember about the internet is that once something is up there, it's up there forever, even if you take it down. So that's something to be wary of, that anything that's broadcast, including this, always going to be there. So, it really is worth thinking about what you post and whether the people you post about or, have got permission, you've got permission from them. And in my opinion, it could have been handled better. Like the wife could have had a chat to her husband about, should we do this? Because my husband has very strong views on what should be put onto social media. He's another one of these similar to that, goes, we don't need to put that. When we go on holiday, we don't let people know in advance where we're going. When we're on holiday, sometimes I might post hey, we're here having a great time, but there's also a security issue. Not in this particular case, but yeah, social media, like I said, is a very powerful platform. So once something's up there, even if, the child later on might not have wanted the medical history up there saying, oh, look at that, I had this heart thing, and then that might impact role later on if they're going for a job which involves
not just that. Can you friggin' imagine that kid later on they're healthy or they get a heart transplant or whatever and they're healthy, and then people are just sort of they see that post on Facebook, and then all of a sudden they were treated normal, then all of a sudden they're just sort of oh, you poor thing, I heard about the heart.
Sit down, don't get stressed.
And it's dude, I'm fine.
That will impact them later on if they, say if they're going for an army, they're going to the army or they're going to go into any sort of career involving something where you have to be really healthy. You don't know what that may impact them later. So,
all right, so that was
story 4.
Yes, story 4. And that was the husband, in our opinion, was not the douchebag, the wife was. And now, because as I said, we're streaming, we're going to throw it to the comments. And we've got Layla is saying, agree 100% that personal info shouldn't be on the net without victims' consent.
I agree.
Yes.
Because where does it stop, really? you know, what information does someone deem, and it's all what if it's something else a lot more personal? Who's to judge what should be told and what shouldn't, you know? So what if they decide, oh, that's no big thing, I'm just going to tell you personal history, and it could be something extremely personal, like you don't know, you have no right to tell anyone else's story on social media without their consent, even when they're younger. I mean, if something happens to someone who's a child and you as a parent are responsible for that child, that still does not give you the right to spread it out all over social media, because later on when that child is old enough and may see it, you know, you might have really ruined their life. You don't know. So I'd agree, yes, Layla, I agree that nobody's got the right to, unless of course, you know, that you're doing it and they've given you full permission.
Yeah,
like
but the whole thing is without consent.
But this is without consent. Yeah. So
okay, so awesome. If anyone's got any more comments and their opinion for story 4, then post it down below.
We were originally only going to do 4 stories, but
yeah, I'm looking at the time and I'm just sort of like, yeah, we can do 2 more.
We can do 2 more. All right, I'm just having a look there.
2 more, is there 1 for you, 1 for me?
Okay, so this one says, am I the douchebag, AITA, am I the douchebag for not agreeing to pay half for a Valentine's getaway?
I did see
read
that
the
one.
Story on this one. Let's have a look at the story. Oh, it's a short one. Good. All right, this may be very straightforward, very short. So let's see. Over a month ago, the guy I'm seeing booked a Valentine's getaway. Okay. He said, and we're heading into Valentine's Day
nice,
too,
yeah.
so that's perfect timing. He said it was a present.
Okay.
I told him over and over he didn't have to do that. I was fine with dinner. Flash forward to today, 6 days before Valentine's. He says to me that he needs half the money for the trip or he will cancel because he is feeling strapped for cash and spent too much money.
He said it was a gift.
So right to the end. Some being at dinner last week. Oh, he spent money, some being at dinner last week. Okay. I thought about it and I told him to just cancel. I feel like it's rude to just change plans last minute and demand money from me. When I was under the false pretense it was a gift. Who's the douchebag? That's a controversial one right there. Personally, so personally, I think, I reckon both. I don't think this person is actually the douchebag, because they're kind of saying, okay, the partner's paid for.
They're trying to compromise.
They're trying to compromise, which you should in a relationship.
Yes. Saying,
okay, so he said, I've planned this. It's a gift. Great. And then he's turned around later and gone, look, I've got no money. I've run out of money. I've spent too much money. I don't have money for the gift. Can you give me money for the plans? And if I don't get the money, I'll cancel. And it's like, well, that's fine as a gift. I have the option to help you out by saying, look, we don't have to spend the money, because I've been married for a very long time. And you compromise about money, because once you start having arguments about money, that's the end of the relationship. So in this particular case, they've gone, look, that's fine. We don't need to go on a trip. Here's the, just cancel it. I'm fine with that. You save your money, because I don't want you spending all your money since you obviously don't have it. So I personally do not think.
So Mum does that with me all the time. She's like, you don't have the money.
You don't have
I'll
the money.
buy this.
I'll either buy it or
ow, my ears.
Or I'll say, look, we just won't get it. Because if you can't afford it, don't get it. You know, don't go on credit. Don't get it if you can't afford it. And if you must have it, then do what you can.
Although usually it's about like medical bills. I'm like, I can't afford this or my meds.
But in this case,
like,
they've gone, I've organised this for Valentine's Day. Personally, my husband and I, we don't make a big thing about Valentine's Day. It's just a day.
I don't believe in it.
And we have been married for 40 years. So obviously it's not become an argument about where we go and what we do. But in this particular case, I don't think that they are the douchebag for saying, you know, hey, I'm gonna be kind, and it's okay with me. You save your money, we'll just do something else.
Pretty much the exact same thing. Like I said, they're compromising. She's turning around and she's like, you know, don't worry about it. Let's just have a comfy night in or whatever. Really, I don't really see the argument.
I don't think he's the douchebag either.
he shouldn't have promised something.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have like then like okay, he shouldn't have paid for this thing, gift or whatever. He shouldn't have paid for this thing, assuming it was prepaid. I don't know if it was
Doesn't
because
say.
Getaways usually you pay for
Or at
the
least a deposit.
flights or whatever.
I should be able to get a deposit back.
But that's the thing, you shouldn't pay for this and then go out for a dinner. Like if you know that you've got
Strap for cash.
not that much money and everything, then you don't go out for dinner. I don't see the big deal. You just
Or you decide one thing or another. If or you just are straight up front before that and say, hey, look, I'm strapped for cash. But I think it sounds to me like it's almost like he was fixated on this, doing this thing, and he was focused on it. So he's disappointed that it's not, but asking for money to pay for something which was supposedly a gift for her, it does sound a bit odd.
It also kind of sounds like traditional stereotype gender roles in a way, because it sounds like even though he knew that he was strapped for cash, he still paid for dinner.
Yeah, that's true.
When she could have paid for dinner, sort
Yeah.
of thing. So, because clearly she's, not strapped for cash. Or even if she is, like, don't go out for dinner. But
Or just, have a joint.
But it
thing
sounds
and
like
go-
he feels like he has to
pay.
pay.
He has to be the man.
We're men, manly men.
Yeah.
Where nowadays it's not a thing, shouldn't be a thing, and everyone earns money generally, and if they don't, then don't plan anything big like that. Basically, don't plan something that you can't manage. And perhaps he was hoping that he would have enough money to pay it come the right time, but I think for him, he should have maybe explained to her the situation and gone why he was fixated on this holiday for her.
But it's just Valentine's Day. Like,
yeah, it's kind of one of those ones. I think in both situations, I don't think either of them were douchebags. I just think there should have been more communication there.
oh God, a lot of the stories.
It doesn't say how old they are either. So
true. A lot of the stories on AITA Reddit is you need communication. A lot of the answers,
a lot of misunderstandings.
Yeah, a lot of the answers are basically you should have communicated. That's like all of this could have been solved with a bit more communication. That's a lot of these stories.
Yeah.
So
my opinion is that if they'd both communicated a bit better and nobody got offended, but the question was, who is the douchebag? And in this case, I really don't think anyone is the douchebag, not in the proper term douchebag, because that's pretty severe. And I honestly don't think anyone.
And say, this is a gift, and then take it back.
And that is no takesies, no take backsies.
No backsies. No backsies?
Backsie, no take backs.
I've heard it both ways.
I don't know what the phrase is, but basically, and that applies for anything really. You can't give a gift, say it's a gift, and then go, I'll have that back now.
Or
That's
you can't kind of, not just that, because if you kind of go, this is a gift, and then the other person, like the wife, gets really excited. Oh, he's got a gift planned. He's, that's, and then kind of turn around and go, oh yeah, it's not a happening thing. Like, she's going to be disappointed, but explain why it's not a happening thing. This comes back to the whole communication thing again.
Always comes back to communication. So but what that was story 5.
Story 5. What do people think in the comments? Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us?
Do you think there is a particular douchebag there, one over the other, in your opinion? So,
and if you don't agree with us, we don't really care. So,
because it's just our opinion.
So let us know in the comments. Okay, so now, am I the douchebag? It's a little bit long. It's already been marked as not the a-hole, but let's see if we agree with that. Okay. Judging from the title, it will probably be not the a-hole. But anyway, okay. Am I the douchebag for backing out of my friend's wedding after she gossiped about my breakup? Sorry, I got a runny nose. Anyway, my ex-boyfriend and I had been dating for 6 years and living together for 3. I've been unhappy in our relationship for the past few months and finally decided it was time to break up with him. I broke up with him last week and it's been extremely painful ever since. There have been a lot of tears and conversations, and trying to navigate moving out on top of everything has been hell. For context, I love my ex very much, but I felt breaking up was my only choice if I wanted to be happy, as things were not getting better.
Read it in a better voice!
Okay, so first off the bat, it sounds like a very not communal, a very amicable breakup. So it wasn't a big fight or anything. So that's good. That's important. That's important.
Yeah, it does.
So that's good. On to the story. One of my friends had a bridal shower this weekend and I could not be more excited for her. My ex-boyfriend and I have been good friends with this person and their fiance. We have even gone on vacations together. My friend is aware of my breakup and has seen firsthand how much I have agonized over this decision. When I arrived at her bridal shower yesterday and started greeting other guests, I quickly realized that somehow everyone in the room already knew about my breakup.
Wow.
Throughout the night, I was approached by multiple people, even ones I barely know, who offered their condolences. Told me they were proud of me, asked how my apartment search was going, and prompted me for details about my breakup and impending move. The maid of honor, MOH, the maid of honor even pushed for details multiple times in front of the bride's family, even though I was very clearly trying to navigate away from the subject. The whole night felt like one of those scenes in high school when you walk into a room and notice people looking at you as if they've just been whispering about you.
Oh dear.
I know that feeling.
Ditto.
I played it off as best as I could and tried to change the subject whenever possible. Apart from that, I would say the evening went fine and everyone had a lovely time celebrating the bride. However, since getting home yesterday, I can't help but feel really betrayed. It feels like my friend used my painful breakup as gossip and shared it with a lot of people who shouldn't know my personal business, especially since I'm not close with them in any way. Both my ex and I are real people with real feelings, and our pain shouldn't be used as party gossip. I've also started receiving texts from people who attended the party informing me they've heard what happened and asking how I'm doing. While I understand their intentions are positive, this feels very invasive. These are her friends, not mine. I would have understood her sharing this with her partner or even a close mutual friend of ours, but this was much bigger than that. I texted her today and told her I could no longer be her bridesmaid or friend. Both her and the maid of honor think I overreacted. Now I'm second guessing my decision and worried I was too rash. I just simply can't imagine treating a friend this way when they feel so vulnerable. Am I the butthole? Okay.
Yes, douchebag. No.
First off, I would say you're not the douchebag.
No.
No, I would say you're not the douchebag.
I'd say not for wanting to remove yourself from that, because that was a really nasty, horrible thing to do. You can't go gossiping. You can't go spreading information that doesn't pertain to anyone else.
If she told her partner, then I'd be like, okay, because if you find out something like that, you need to offload it on somebody else, because that's how human nature or whatever works, right? Because otherwise you bottle things up and stuff. So understandable. But
the way she did it was, I don't agree.
No, that's nuts.
I would say that's borderline nasty for me. I think so, because that is definitely gossip and not beneficial at all. That was hurtful because she was vulnerable, she was hurting, she was having a hard time.
I would understand it if because she was so broken up about it, if she randomly burst into tears or something, like in the bathroom, and people came in or whatever and sort of said, what's wrong, or they needed,
are you okay?
And then that's how other people found out.
And that's how the story got out. Then it's you telling your story.
Then that's understandable,
you can tell as much as you want.
Because then they're worried about this girl who's crying in the bathroom. Like, I completely understand that. However, it sounded like she was keeping it together. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but unless, of course, the bride spread it as like, hey, we're celebrating me just in case she's upset or whatever, this is the reason why she will be upset today, because a wedding is one of those weird things.
But unintentional.
A wedding is one of these weird things where people can get depressed. I get depressed at weddings. So people can get depressed at weddings. And if she just had a breakup, a wedding is a happy time. It's to do with, you know, two people and everything. So if this person just broke up, the bride could have been sort of like,
Buffering,
you know,
trying to buffer.
Yeah, trying to, but
possibly.
But it seems like she walked into the party feeling okay, let's celebrate my friend. And then the friend turned around and did that to her.
Yeah, but I think the fact that so many people came up, it really seems like a gossip thing.
And then of course, if you're that poor chick who just got broken up with,
don't want to talk about it. Maybe.
Yeah, and you're feeling okay. You're here, like you're putting it out of your mind because you're
holding
here
it together.
You're putting it out of your mind because you're here to focus on your friend. And then you get people coming up to you over and over again saying, you know, how sorry they feel in that. You're going to start having the thoughts creep back into your head, even though you pushed them out in the first place to celebrate your friend.
But it is none of other people's business. The fact they were asking her how her apartment hunt's going and good on her for breaking up without knowing the full story and just being, you know, approaching her in that way. And the fact that there were so many, like, it almost seems like, what did she do? Did she like hold a big meeting?
Like
or,
a big
you know, did she say, hey, gather up everyone.
Ow, my freaking ears!
I've got some news for you. This, and then we'll just move on to me, you know, like, regardless of how it was done.
But also, because it's
thought out very well.
It wasn't the actual wedding, because it was like the pre-party, bridal shower.
Bridal shower,
because it was a bridal shower as well. It's just sort of like, surely you would want the day to be about you rather than your friend who's gone
through a breakup,
because it's like the bridal shower is your day, whereas the wedding is like your partner and stuff. But
how well do you really know your friend if you weren't expecting something like that? Either they were well-meaning and just didn't communication again, and asked, you know, how you doing before you come, and told some people just because they were trying to help, which I can't imagine. In my opinion, it didn't sound like it. Or they were just wanted to spread news, gossip. It depends on the type of person they were. But they were to be the bridesmaid and things like that. I don't think necessarily that she's the douchebag for saying, I don't want to be your bridesmaid anymore, because you don't want to be people looking at you in pity and that either. And you want to be comfortable too. You want to be there for your friend. You don't want it to be about you either. So, and because it was hurtful, it was really not thought out. It's not like one or two people came up and said, look, I heard about this. We're really sorry about, you know, your breakup.
It sounded like it was practically the whole friggin' party.
It sounded like, you know, everyone was told by, you know, email or whatever. You know, I said everyone knew about it. And like, almost as though the fact that everyone came up and said something, it's almost like go up to her and, you know, like, it's like they were encouraged to go and approach her personally,
just
each and every one of them, to find out if she's okay. And
like,
that is not thoughtful at all. It's either a very selfish act, you know, her going, oh, you know, I just want to make myself feel better for finding out if she's okay, or it was, you know, unintentional, in which case it's a thoughtless act. Either way, it's
very difficult.
I don't think she's overreacting to not wanting to be the bridesmaid, because something like that would change. That would put me off.
That would put me off.
You know, that changes your whole. It sours a little bit for you. You know, the whole thing is a wedding.
Well, she said not just bridesmaid can no longer be her bridesmaid or friend.
I think bridesmaid, okay, I get that.
But it also doesn't say how long they've been friends for.
No, that's true.
So,
and you don't know the backstory. You don't know if this has happened in the past, that you know, that the friend has done this several times with different things. And
true.
So you don't know the real backstory there about their friendship. But without the information, I would say, yes, I can understand her wanting to pull away from being a bridesmaid because of what's happened, because that spoiled it for her completely. Understandable. I'm not sure about the friend bit.
No. I understand the friend bit, because I understand that she would feel betrayed.
Yeah, I get that because she did
So,
say that she felt
yeah.
betrayed, and
I completely
that's a very strong
understand that.
feeling.
I've
Wouldn't be
definitely
able
felt
to,
that
you wouldn't be
before.
able
So
to act the same way around your friend again.
no,
It would change the relationship, even if you've sort of can explain it to yourself. Okay, she probably meant it this way. It's, have a chat, communicate with
it
her,
probably
but it would never
wasn't.
be the same.
It probably wasn't like keep this a secret. So she probably didn't think it was a big deal. The bride, I mean, she probably didn't think it was a big deal. She probably didn't think, it was a secret. But the thing is, you don't go around spreading someone else's relationship.
No, and it's just
relationship news, even if it was happy news, if she got proposed to or whatever, it's her news, it's her
that's what
story.
that was what I was about to say as well, and this goes for pretty much anything. If somebody has specific news for themselves, and that could do with your health, it could do with a good news that you've had from happy news, sad news, whatever it is, your news, it happened to you, you're the one that had that experience. It is your news to tell.
Oh my God, we've had
happens a lot.
Family members.
It is not for anyone else to sort of go hear about it and go, that now gives me permission to tell everyone your news, because it is your news. If you've given them permission, if you've gone, look, I don't want to deal with it, can you please tell the family about what I've experienced or what's happened? That's fine, because you've given them permission. But again, it's about permission and about, boundaries and consent. If you've not given consent and it's your story to tell, I mean, not a story, but it's your story. It's something that is specific to you. Then it is for you to decide who you want to tell, whether you want to even say anything at all. If it involves someone else, keeping it to yourself as also comes back to communication. You have to decide.
Well, if their ex, they said it was a dude, but say hypothetically, if the ex was a female and also invited to the bridal party, because bridal shower, because that's only women in the bridal showers. Is that only
generally,
women?
Yeah, generally.
Yeah. So if
that might have changed now, but I think it's still like that.
Well, if the partner was a female that they had been dating for 6 years, as it said, and she was invited as well. They were invited as well, because I don't know if it's only females bridal showers.
I think I've read that you can sometimes have your gay friends there too.
Oh, cool.
And queer friends.
Can I have a bridal shower without getting married?
Basically anyone who's close to you, who's like a girlfriend.
Clearly I don't know. I honestly don't know much about weddings. So basically, or getting married. So basically, if they were there as well, then I would kind of understand, because they would, I mean, not if the bride friggin' says it again.
No.
Or unless it was like a warning thing. Like
don't upset them by,
they
can say.
But even then, but it said my ex-boyfriend, so.
Oh, well, there you go. So.
Yeah, my ex-boyfriend.
But they had an amicable split.
If they were invited to the wedding, say it was the wedding, not the bridal shower, and they were invited to the wedding as well, then the ex-boyfriend told some people, and that's how it got to her, then okay, because they were also part of that story. It was also their news, because there's two people involved. But going off the whole your story thing, if it's your news, your story, but there's two people involved. So if that other person said something, then that would be...
Yeah, then that would make it kind of... But as far as the question goes, it's one of those situations you can't really tell without all the information, the background, the history of, because it's one side. You've only got one side, the person asking the question. You don't have the other side's opinion, because there's always two sides to a story. So it's possible that the bride, the best mate bride, had purely, honest intention. And,
I think she...
and didn't mean it like that, and would be absolutely horrified to think,
I think she had
done this,
the best intentions. I honestly think that the bride had the best intentions. It's just
initially it comes across as though she didn't. So, but without knowing the whole thing, you can't really judge. But
I think she's very valid. The OP is very valid in feeling the way that she does, and feeling betrayed, and that, the bride has broken her trust and everything. I completely understand that.
The feeling is valid. you know, acknowledge the feeling, because if that's the way she feels, then her feeling is valid.
Yeah, I don't think she's.
You know,
I don't think she's the douchebag.
No, I don't think she's
So-
the douchebag for the way she feels.
The way she feels, yeah, definitely not. And if she feels, because it's up to her to make the decision, if she feels that she can't be a bridesmaid anymore, okay, fair. If she feels that her friend betrayed her and there was no good reason or anything, but if you know your feelings are valid, even if you think you have the wrong feelings or
and even
whatever,
if nobody else agrees,
yeah, your
it's
feelings,
your feelings.
exactly, your feelings are valid. So
at least they should be validated in that respect, and I don't think they're wrong.
So screw what everyone else says.
That's our opinion anyway.
If you feel a certain way, your feelings are valid. So
they may not be, you know, they might
even
not be in
if
the grand
they're not,
scheme might not be correct.
Yeah,
or
if they're not like politically correct or anything like that, they're still your feelings.
And that's, you know, at least can be acknowledged, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's in wherever they are in their own space. So
because you can it's the world that's politically correct nowadays, but you can have your own feelings and opinions. Doesn't mean you have to voice them.
No,
I mean, I often voice mine, and I've probably offended a lot of people in this.
But again,
but that's just my opinion.
Yep, that's just my opinion.
So that's that. I think that's going to be it today.
Yep.
I need to find some food.
Thank you to everyone who has dropped in and those who will watch it afterwards.
That was story 6. If you want to
6,
leave a comment below saying if you agree with us, if you don't agree with us, we don't care. But your opinion is valid.
Your thoughts, your feelings are all valid. So let us know. Let us know what you thought about the stream as well.
Yep. Thanks for joining us on our pilot episode of That's Just My Opinion. And I hope everything is good with everybody, and have a great day, and I will see
the little opossums.
I will see you adorable opossums another time. I'm not sure when, but I will.
I will catch you later.
Yes. Hey everyone, and make sure to love yourself, and your thoughts and feelings are valid. We do have like microphones,
don't know how well they
we don't know if they're picking it up or if they're working or if it's just going directly through my phone speakers.
So not too certain.
So
this is a pilot episode. Testing just to see how it goes. It's something a little bit different. We thought we'd try. Hex can't stream anything else because of her arm's in a splint, and she can't do any artwork or anything. And I figure this way I can support her, and we can both have a mother-daughter fun stream.